Hello y'all on YouTube, this is Rob with Rob's Nerdy Knives. Today I have a very interesting Rob's Rambling. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about production versus maybe a custom version, right? Sometimes you'll see production versions out there and then you'll see maybe a custom version. And a good example of that would be something that came into my collection recently is here's this Urban EDC LC. This is a Urban EDC exclusive. It was done by Riot. It took a year for this pre-order to come in. Really cool Trevor Burger design. It's got the full flat grind, beautiful lock, a lot of very similarities, and you'll notice that it looks a lot like this knife right here. And this is the Trevor Burger Custom Urban XL. This is done by him. It's a full custom. This is a production knife done by Riot. And there's some very subtle differences. Looks very similar. You might think it's exactly the same. Well, the differences are this is a little smaller. Now he makes a smaller version that looks almost like this exactly. But this is a flat grind, right? Flat grind. And you'll notice there's some more sharper corners and things like that. It's not as rounded. It's not as smooth. This is hollowed out, so it does have some weight reduction. But, you know, some of the action is subtly different. I put Skiff cage ceramic ball bearings in there, so that made it a little nicer. And then you get to see this custom. This is a full custom, and you can noticeably just feel the difference. Everything, every little detail has been rounded. Everything, even from the jimping up here, like this goes all the way here, and it's really perfectly done. This is a purple fat carbon scale. And then the milling here, let's go ahead and flip this open. The milling on this on the titanium part of where the frame lock is very much hollowed out, so that's a lot of weight reduction. You can even see the lock bar on the two. This is a much thinner, higher lock bar on here. And this is a hollow grind, and this is hand finished satin, but a beautiful hollow grind, very thin. Everything is rounded all the way around. Even the clip itself, where this clip was very flat. I actually took this clip off on this production run right here, and I smoothed it out because it was ripping my pants up. A lot of people sold their knives because they were very unhappy with the clip. I fixed that, and I figured I bet a custom is much better. And I was right. It is way better. And so to me, it's like, you know, what's the benefit? Why would you have a production like this if there's a custom? I mean, the custom is awesome. You wouldn't want, you know, this should be just for very exclusive people. No one should have this custom. Well, I disagree. I would probably never bought the custom had I not tried this production, had I not enjoyed this production, had I not just found that I really enjoyed this knife in so many ways. And then people started talking about a custom, and I thought, wow, that's really amazing. Let me get, for an example, I have a knife in my collection that I was so excited to get. It was based off of a custom done by Brian Nadeau. This is the Evo Typhoon. Now, I believe initially this was a custom knife that was made, and then he decided to do a production. I think it's 2017 or something. And I wanted to get a copy of this, but I never did, and I missed it. And this was always the one I wanted in my collection. And he released one, and it might have been the last one he released as far as this knife is concerned. And I was able to get a hold of one, and boy, is it nice. But could I mean, for the quality of this knife and working with Riot, it was still expensive, don't get me wrong. But compared to a full custom, it's a lot cheaper and allows me to get a hold of one of his designs. And boy, it's worth it. I'm just excited to have a production version like this that was done overseas so beautifully. And now, if he made these here in the USA and all that stuff, these would be way more expensive, right? But I love this knife. I think it's great. And so to me, why do a production when you do custom? Because more people can enjoy your work. It gets more things out there. That's a lot of reason why some of these custom knife makers start making these designs for different knife manufacturers. You'll see Kaiser, and you'll see WE, and you'll see QSP, and you'll see Spyderco. You'll see a bunch of people work with these knife designers because it's a way for their design to come out. You know, Brian Nadeau has done a bunch of stuff. Sharp Eye Design had like did some stuff with Exotic or some other company recently. But then you look at Rick Hinderer. You know, he had a knife that was done by Zero Tolerance. It was a less expensive version of something like this right here, of, you know, his full, you know, mid-tech, semi-custom, whatever you want to call it, production, USA made knife. But this is a cost of a knife that just, it's too expensive to be able to get anywhere else. But I say I'm glad he did that, because I would never have known that I would enjoy this knife and someday get this knife, right? So is it worth it? Is it worth having a production? Is it worth having a custom? Yeah, I think so. I really do. Especially if you want people to enjoy and experience your knife. And I'm grateful that Trevor Berger did this. I'm grateful that Brian Nadeau did this. I'm grateful that Rick Hinderer did the zero tolerance version. I would never have known. I'm grateful for a lot of designs like that. I probably can look at my case here and other knives and think about that as well. I'm sure there's other knives that would fall into that. Some of my Spydercos and perhaps some of my, I think Leon Ma, I don't think he does custom, but, I'm glad that he does some production versions, because his designs are beautiful and gorgeous. And if he had someone made a in-house production, that'd be way too expensive for me to be able to own, right? So I appreciate, Enrique Pena and Javi Garcia, who do a lot of the X-Series, the Pena X-Series knives. I mean, you go out and get for instance, right here, I'll pull this one out. I got this one for Crane's Cutlery. It's a Enrique Pena X Series. You can see that right there, X Series. It's Damas steel. It's a red fat carbon. This knife is a production version made by Riot, and it was sold by Crane's Cutlery, and the price of this was still high, but it was attainable, right? You were to get one of these, one of his customs, and it would look similar to this, but it would be noticeably different. Just like this is noticeably different. This Trevor Berger full custom right here is noticeably different than this, production version by Urban EDC. Just like Brian Nadeau's production custom versions are going to be noticeably different than this. So is the X Pena series Mula. This is a Mula. His production hand custom versions, they are going to be 2 to 3 to 4 times as expensive as this. But yes, you will know why. You will experience why. You will feel why it's so much more. And there's a reason why those sell out as fast as some of these other ones that he makes. So why is there that? Because I get to enjoy an Enrique Pena. I get to enjoy a Javi Garcia design. I get to enjoy a Rick Hinderer design. I get to enjoy a Trevor Berger design that otherwise I would not have known about, would never have experienced. And at some point in my life, I was then able to go and try a custom version here, right? And, I would love someday, if I could afford it, to get a Sharp by Design custom version. I don't know if he'll be still doing those, but that would be cool. I would someday love to get an Enrique Pena or Javi Garcia. Javi Garcia was one of the understudies or proteges of Enrique Pena. He worked for him, and I think he mentored or tutored. I don't know. They worked together, and he developed his own unique design, and now they collaborate together because he's become that good of a. I guess Enrique Pena taught him so well that he made the student became the master, or I don't know if it's the master, but he became equal to him, and I think that's awesome because I love each of their designs and I love their collabs. Their collabs are amazing. I'm glad Rick Hinderer did this because I got a chance to experience the ZT562 carbon fiber and then got a chance to experience this. Now, I had a Jurassic. I didn't care for that. I wish I had experienced that ahead of time. I would have known I wouldn't like that, but I really like this, especially the non-flipper. This is really the kind of Hinderer knife that I think I would have enjoyed all along. So, yeah, I'm glad that there's a production versus a custom, right? I really am, because it allows me to experience knives that I otherwise would not have gotten a chance to experience. And I think that's really cool. I really do. I'm curious, what do y'all think? I mean, do some of you wish that the custom knife makers would only make custom and then they'd make a completely different knife for production? I don't, because some of those beautiful custom pieces are custom. I know some people feel like, well, I go out and buy this and then they make this, makes this worth less. I don't think so. I really don't. Matter of fact, I think this made this knife worth more. And I'll tell you why. And I really think there's some logic here. You may think this needs to be so exclusive it shouldn't be copied like that. Well, the problem is now that I've had this knife, I enjoy it. I see the beauty in just a production version. It's not even a custom version. And I like it so much. And I think, and I know, and I see reviews where people talk about how the custom version is so much better. And I go, I don't know if I buy that. But then you hear more and more and you're like, okay, well, I guess it is. But I really enjoy the production version, so I figured, well, I mean, if it's better than something that's this good, my goodness, maybe someday I'd like to get that. And then I did. But here's the thing. I would probably never have even considered buying this had I not been able to try one of those production versions. And that opened up my idea to looking at something nicer. Sooner, right? Same thing for Sharp by Design. You know, I would love someday to be able to buy something from him. I don't know if he'll still be making or selling it, but I would. I have very seriously considered an Enrique Pena custom, way more. I considered the Rick Hinderer knives, and I bought the Rick Hinderer knives. This is my second one because of that, right? And all the great reviews and experiences people have. So yeah, it did do that for me. So, you know, you could tell me that you think the difference between a production and maybe a custom or mid-tech or whatever you want to call it, they should be very distinct and they shouldn't blend like this. And it bothers maybe some people who own the customs because they feel like their customs need to be super special, their own version, whatever. And then fine, you know, go get yourself a handmade, unique custom, tell them to make it like nothing else. But I don't know. I don't think that's fair in one regard, because you're taking a design that someone made and you're limiting them. You're limiting it and you're putting them in a box. And I think, you know, even this to this, there's subtle differences that I can see. I can also see, not only just feel, but I can see. And to me, I don't know. I wonder if the production made this even better. And matter of fact, if I remember correctly, I think he didn't start making the Urban custom until they did this first one with Urban EDC. If I heard correctly, that he did the Urban EDC LC run first, and or created it first, and then he started making his own customs, and the customs did so well because of that. I don't know if that's correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I got that mixed up, or if I'm thinking of something else. Please comment down below. But I think that's how that worked, if I heard correctly, right? But again, you know, I wonder if some of these things that they do, they make their product, their designs, whatever, better because they did something production and they see how that works and what people like and what people don't like, you know. I don't know. I think so. But I'm happy. I'm happy that there's a production version and there's a custom version. I like that. The why to me is not, oh, that shouldn't be, I'm bummed out. I'm happy. I'm happy that I get a chance to have a production version of something I may never have otherwise. There's once in a while I may get a custom, right? But I'm not going to be buying a ton of customs. I'm not a millionaire or anything like that. And I have a few really nice knives and I enjoy them, right? Like eventually I would like to get the custom, the titanium scales for this, and this makes this a much more expensive knife, but I would like to get those titanium scales. I still love it like this, but it'd be cool to have the titanium scales on this. I think that would make this knife gorgeous, right? But again, that's going to take a long time for me to get there. But that's just something that I think would be really, really cool. So, you know, that's my idea. That's my thoughts on it. I think, you know, why production? Why a custom or mid-tech, whatever? I think it has value. I think it has merit. I think it allows the designer, the creator, the manufacturer, whatever, to make something even better. It allows people to experience, like us, to experience where we might not get a chance to experience. It allows us to appreciate the design. Even if it's not exactly the custom, it allows us to really appreciate design and maybe to want the custom at some point if it's still available, right? There's a lot of knives out there I would love to get a hold of. Like, I hear all this about the Roosevelt, and it's so popular in demand, and the FSD from Brown, you know, Brown Knives, I believe it is. Those are knives I would love to try, but there's no production variant of those, and I don't know if I would really like it. People say they love it, but you know, I always have the question because, you know, just my 2 cents, my thought, my experience. Okay, it may not be yours, and I'm not trying to diss anybody, But there are some knives that I was told is the bomb, right? And it's just so amazing. And because they're so hard to get, and those who get them, they get them. I wonder at times if people, when they finally get that Grail knife, do they go, oh, that was the best knife. It has to be the best knife, because they're either rationalizing it to themselves, trying to justify that they made that purchase, and don't want to have second guess themselves, and they don't want to undermine that decision. Is there a chance that perhaps they may not be truthful with themselves, really? I wonder, because my Jurassic from Rick Hinder was like that. My Chris Reeve Umnumzon was like that. I got him, and I loved him and everything like that. I mean, I think the Chris Reeve Umnumzon is a beautiful knife. It has some major flaws for me that makes me never want to own it, okay? That's why I sold it. Now, fortunately, because it's so high demand, I was able to sell it for what I paid for it. So that was great. Just the same thing with my Chris Reeve Jurassic. I was able to do very much the same thing. So I was very grateful for that. But at the same time, you know, I thought, you know, those are knives I would get, and I would try to rationalize them to myself, and I just couldn't. But then I realized what my aesthetic was, and I came back to Chris Reeve, and I saw, okay, this finger choil, non-flipper, looks like, you know, a knife I might really, really enjoy. And I started watching the reviews, and so lo and behold, one day I got a chance to buy one, and I did, and here I am, and I'm like, you know, yeah, I really dig this. I really dig this variant of it, because now I know the design that I like, but I also started all off with some of the production version, the ZTs and stuff, and I go, yeah, I think I would really enjoy that. And so that helped, right? So those are my experiences. Those are things that I've gone through in kind of coming to that decision. I'm appreciative for the production variants. There are a lot of custom versions that I'll never experience, never know, and quite frankly, I'm not going to take $1,000 guess at, right? I'm willing to do a $900 guess at an Urban EDC XL because of this $300 purchase. Yeah, I was like, okay, if it's better than this, it's going to be amazing. I'm willing to try it. And everything I read and the reviews, I said, go for it. Yeah. If I ever get a chance to buy a Brian Nadeau custom, because of my experience with this and the Mini Tempest and stuff like that, would I go for one of his customs? Yes. If I finally decide which one I would really like and the opportunity raises itself, would I get a Enrique Pena custom? Yes. If, you know, would I then take this Rick Hinder and maybe even make it more special with, you know, custom titanium scale and other hardware? Yes, I would, absolutely. So, you know, that's the kind of experience that allows me to make those jumps and those decisions. And I'm very appreciative of all of that. And you know, it's kind of cool. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I'd love to hear from you and what your experiences are. I do try to read all the comments, and I do love having these conversations, because that's why I love these Rob's ramblings. It's not just me spewing out my thoughts and you just have to listen, and I don't listen to anybody. I learn from this. I think I learn more from you guys than hopefully you learn anything from me, because I enjoy talking about knives. Knives is a passion for me, and I enjoy collecting. I enjoy using and carrying knives, and I'm absolutely a user. Doesn't mean that people can't be collectors or enthusiasts. Be what you want. Buy a knife and never carry it. Buy a knife and carry it, and buy a second knife that you never carry. Whatever. Or carry every knife. Be a person who beats up your knives. I don't care. I mean, I'm a user. I'm not an abuser. I like to use every one of my knives, and those knives that I can abuse and use really harshly, I will. But those knives that are a little nicer, I probably won't abuse. I'll carry and use them, but I won't abuse them. So there you go. Like I said, I would love to hear your thoughts. I'd love to hear your perspective on that and see, what do you agree with me? What do you disagree with me about all of this? Any questions for me about this? I would love to see those. And I appreciate if you've watched so far. Awesome. Thank you. And if you enjoyed this, that's great. So I will end it on that. So if you found this content fun, interesting, worthwhile, or entertaining, would you please consider liking the video and subscribing as well? Subscribing and liking the video and the channel really helps the channel to grow, allows me to do more things, produce more content, do more things for you guys. I really do appreciate that. And if you've done all that, maybe consider hitting the notification button as well down below. That allows you to get notified of new content and things when I drop them. Hey, if you've done all that, maybe check me out over on Instagram as well at Robs_nerdy_knives. Again, that's on Instagram at Robs_nerdy_knives. Hey, thanks so much for watching today. You all have a great day and a great week.